Okay, I've been modifying a sleeve pattern for the Martha Corinne dress, and because the original pattern I drafted was for my 1910s day dress, so for Martha Corinne needed a little less poof. I made just a rough modification when I was working on the mock-up. So now I've just traced the sleeve head to get a more precise pattern. And it's just for the top part of the sleeve. The under part is fine. I didn't really change that. So all I need now is the length. I didn't draw a full-length sleeve. And for the 1910s day dress, it cut off just below the elbow. So I've dug out my measurements, and I've also measured the shirt that I'm wearing today, and I find I've got the inside length pretty well, and the outside length needs to go to about 24. Doesn't hurt to have some extra length, I'm going to need it anyway for the seam allowance, and for a cuff if I want to. I want to fold the cuff over, but I'm not sure. It really depends. I don't know how much material exactly I have. Okay, this is where I had it initially. I'm gonna try that. And if you have enough length, you can always, refine as you're looking. This is the inside. Outside. Inside I've traced on here as well, just for reference, but I have a separate piece that I can use to cut. I'll cut it out and try it on. Okay, so here's what we've got. And then of course there's extra length there, and that's okay, because I can use that to fold over for a cuff. So I get a fair amount of room here in the shoulder, but it's a much closer fit. I'm gonna go with that. Still waiting for the buttons to arrive, so what I'm gonna do is put it together, and then it'll just be the closure needs to be done. So what have I got here? This is half of the bodice. It'll be in their little placket. I want to be economical with the fabric, because I think Martha Corinne would have been. She made that dress herself, and she likely did. She's from the mountain, and that could be part of the reason why in the 1930s she's wearing an old style dress. And I was thinking, you know, maybe she kept it for a long time, but also if she learned to make dresses a certain way, then she may have continued to make them in that style even later on. And she likes to do things her way, very stubborn, so I could see her continuing to make, and like late 1800s, even Civil War era, because if she was alive during the Civil War, I think she said she got married just after. I do get a sort of that vibe from her, especially when she's wearing like a morning wrapper. It looks like a sort of a Civil War era or a little later. Dropped shoulders. I get that vibe from her. So maybe some of her clothes were handed down, and we know these clothes last a long time because they were made to last. And so it makes sense that she might be wearing an older type style. And really, any kind of a sort of a work dress, chore dress, you know, the style could go 1890s, 1900s, 1910s, 20s, 30s. It's not that different. So there's different things that would make it consistent with the character, and for the dress to be of this style, but also for the dress to be of possibly an older style. And as long as it's an older style and not a later style, then the episode is set in the 1930s, so anything before that is plausible, especially if it's handmade clothing. You know, like I said, it lasts a long time. The skirt is already cut one piece, and it will close in the front, but it'll be kind of a hidden placket sort of idea, except it will be based on what you see in the video for the mock-up. So there's a little bit of a twist there. Well on schedule here. I may try making a bonnet if I have time. We'll see. And the shoes I'm gonna have to leave for now, I think, unless I can manage to purchase some. And I'm thinking possibly button-up boots for her would be nice, but I would think could easily go with just a lace-up style, or like an Edwardian style shoe, or something from the 20s, 30s, maybe a more recent shoe. But any of that, like I said, from the 30s back, you can kind of choose what you want. She might go with a button-up boot since she's visiting. In the previous episode where she was visiting, I tried so hard to catch some stills, and it almost looked like she may have been wearing a button-up boot. So it's possible. We know she could have been wearing a lace-up boot, and I would think, being from the mountain, a boot would be realistic for her. Not to say that she wouldn't. This episode that I'm doing this dress from is later, after she's moved more to a housing situation, so she may be going a little more modern with her shoes. But I like the rustic elements, and I like the the Martha Corinne from the mountain, and I'd like to indicate that in my costume design, since I'm only doing this one with this dress. So it wouldn't hurt to have a bit of a throwback for Martha Corinne, and I'd like to go with boots. That's a bit of a personal preference, but we have that choice, we can make it. So, but I also think it's a nice versatile style, less restrictive, and maybe more comfortable. And she does ask John Boy if they could go up on the mountain and that. So I think I think some boots. I like boots. I'm gonna go with some boots. Now it'll probably end up being lace up, but I will see if I can find a pair of button up. I think if we're going to go more rustic, we'll probably go with the laces. But that's yet to be determined what I'm going to find, so maybe I will find both and then I could change them out. But for now, the main thing, I already have the combinations done and full-length petticoat, and I'm going to be doing another video for that, which I didn't film it at the time I made it, but I did take photos, so I can do a sort of a photo diary for that, and I plan to do that. And so I've done a mock-up of the dress, and there's some video of that as well, already posted. And so I think I'll be making a playlist of this. And so now it's just the dress really that's left, and the brooch. And I'm going to try, I think, to make a brooch out of some silver wire. My sister says she has some. She does wire wrapped jewelry. So she said she thinks she has some silver wire around, so she's gonna let me have some, and I will try to replicate the fairly primitive style brooch that Martha Corinne is wearing with this dress. I don't know how much of the accessory details we will end up having, but we will have the dress for sure. Okay, I'm just gonna flat fill these. I'm just going to line up these chalk lines. It's pretty good. This isn't a super fitted garment, so it's pretty practical. Doesn't have to be super precise. Though I do try to be precise. The pins that I guess I wouldn't have to keep checking, but I don't use pins very often. I don't like to, well, I use safety pins. I don't use straight pins. I have cats. I don't like to mix sharp objects very often. With kitties, okay, I'll take it out. Try again. Forgot to do that. I don't know why. Well, I'm not used to worrying about pattern matching. I guess that's why. This is really the first, I think the first piece I've done that really needed to match the fabric. Get this lined up now. I think it might have been the other side that I cut the fabric was adjacent. How do magic? Eh? Magic doesn't get in the way. Do you, magic? Well, sometimes you. It's mostly in front of the camera, right? But you leave me lots of room to work. Magic's a quiet, beautiful, lovely, lovely. Eh? Lovely, lovely girl. On the old front porch veranda sat old Silas and Miranda, thinking of the days gone by. Said he, dearie, don't be weary, you were always bright and cheery, but a tear, dear, dims your eyes. Said she, these are tears of gladness, Silas. They're not tears of sadness. It is 50 years today since we were wed. Oh my gosh, I haven't sang that in ages. You might be able to get out busking again this year. It's 50 years today since we were wed, and the old man's... What? Maybe I should just focus on my pattern matching here. On the old front porch veranda sat old Silas and Miranda, thinking of the days gone by. Said he, dearie, don't be weary, you were always bright and cheery, but a tear, dear, dims your eyes. Said she, these are tears of gladness, Silas, they're not tears of sadness. It is 50 years today since we were wed, and the old man's and I forgot the words, and his old dim-hearted lightened down as he turned to her and said, put on your old gray bonnet with the blue ribbon on it while I hitch old Dobbin to the shade, and through the fields of clover we'll ride out to Dover on our golden wedding day. Put on your old gray bonnet with the blue ribbon on it while I hitch old Dobbin to the shade, and through the fields of clover we'll ride out to Dover on our golden wedding day. Lots of those old songs I learned from the Waltons. By the light of the silvery moon, la-dee-da-da, da-da-da-da-dee-da-dee, la-dee-dee, la-da-da-da-da-da, by the silvery moon. Sing with me, Oni. By the light of the silvery moon, we were sailing along on Moonlight Bay. We could hear the voices ringing, they seemed to say, you have stolen my heart, now don't go away. As we sang the old sweet song on Moonlight Bay, we were sailing along on Moonlight Bay, and we could hear the voices ringing, they seemed to say, Honeyhaka, you have stolen my heart, now don't go away. As we sang love's old sweet song on Moonlight Bay, as we sang love's old sweet song on Moonlight Bay. Come here, Oni. Come here. Are you going to show yourself? Eh? Comes in with magic. Hey, hey. Hi there. Hey there. Gonna help me do some sewing? Will you helping me do some singing? What are you singing? Uncle Zorro used to sing. Yeah, he did. He did. He used to sing. I have him on tape singing with me. Yes. And Bertie used to sing with me all the time. But Bertie would sing to the vacuum cleaner too, so I don't know. He liked the trumpets and Ring of Fire. And the Gambler. Like the Gambler. Can't sing those though. They're not public domain, so we can't sing those songs right now. No, that's why we have to sing the old public domain songs, see? We were sailing along on Moonlight Bay. Oh, you're gonna sit on my... So you're gonna get in the way here. We could hear the voices ringing. They seem to say, okay, move over. You have stolen my heart. Now don't go away. As we sang love's old sweet song on Moonlight Bay. As we sang love's old sweet song on Moonlight Bay. You didn't get your tea time snack today, did you? Gotta have some supper. Yeah, supper time, sweet. That's when this heart of mine longs to go. Hey? Soon we will meet on that bright and golden shore. There we'll be happy and free from all sorrow. There we shall meet and part no more. Break time. Put the back stitch in. That's fairly well pattern matched. Martha Corinne might not approve of me eating potato chips and sewing at the same time, but I don't know.